Hello, everybody, and welcome into the 26th edition of Texas Longhorns here live. I'm your host, Matthew Miller. Please give this video a like and a subscription if you'd like to see more content in the future. I really appreciate you guys doing that. Share this out with your friends, family, neighbors, whoever it may be. We're trying to get to 3,000 subs by the end of the season. We've actually been going pretty strong. We're about 150 away from that now, so please do that as well. And if you're going to listen instead of watch, we have that for you here. Catch us on whatever platform you may choose, whether that be Spotify, whether that's Apple, whether that's Amazon. Go check us out. Type in the voice of college football. Type in your favorite team, Texas, Oklahoma, SEC. We have that as well. Go check it out on your favorite audio platform. And we all use Amazon. We all buy different things, whether that be a water bottle, these flags I got on Amazon, and I did it using the link in the description of the video. All you have to do is click the link. Does not change the buying process, does not change the buying experience. Takes a little bit of change out of Jeff Bezos' pocket, puts it in Mark Rogers' piggy bank, helps him out. Please do that as well. And again, hit that like and subscribe button. And then, unfortunately, we will jump into this. Texas loses their first game of the season, 30-15 to Georgia. Very disappointing outcome for the Texas Longhorns. Very disappointing showing for the Texas Longhorns. And we'll jump into some counting stats before I get into what was wrong, what I saw on this rewatch. Now, I just watched highlights because I could not find the whole game for whatever reason. No one has that up on YouTube right now. And I would love to get in the all-22. And some people do have some all-22 footage we will talk about because I do think it helps solve the Quinn Ewers issue. And actually, let's address that first. So there was some Quinn Ewers news that came out today. It was fake. 247 had put out, he's going to opt out, Not going to happen. They were hacked. Someone put that out. It's very weird that someone chose him. I guess it's just because of what just happened and the question with him and Arch Manning. Steve Sarkisian said today Quinn Ewers is their starter, and he's going to be the starter. I'm not surprised by that. But now let's get into these stats. Let's start out with Texas. Quinn Ewers, 25 of 43, 211 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like 190-something of that came in the second half. He only had 17 yards passing in the first half. He actually had net negative yardage in the first half because of sacks and turnovers. Trey Wisner, 15 carries for 52 yards, 3.5 average. Overall, not good enough. And then if you get rid of the sacks and you just go by the carries by the running backs, 17 carries for 64 yards. That is 3.76 yards per carry. Again, abysmal. And we talked about this. This was my biggest issue for this team. And I got called an idiot in that video by Mississippi State. Or after the Mississippi State game. Well, I was right. And it reared its ugly head in this game. I would have rather been wrong. I would have rather run it down Georgia's throat and we win the game. But I was right. Matthew Golden, 3 receptions, 77 yards. I was very impressed with his fight and his effort in the second half of that game. He really showed up, especially with Isaiah Bond being hurt. Gunnar Helm, need to get him the ball more, especially in the first half. 6 receptions, 62 yards for him. And then Jaden Blue, who did not have a carry the whole night, but did have 7 catches for 48 yards. The defense as a whole, Michael Taft, Latham Wood, played a really good game at the safety position. 9 tackles for him. He was the leading tackler. And then Anthony Hill, all over the place, 8 tackles, 1 sack, 1.5 tackles for loss. He's an All-American linebacker at this point. He's been amazing. I expected the All-American linebacker to be next year for him. I think he's going to be an All-American linebacker this year. This guy's going to be a top 10 pick when he goes into the draft next year. He's phenomenal. 1 sack, 4 tackles for loss. And that was my only bugaboo with the defense. They got pressure, but they were not able to get to Carson Beck more than 1 time. And if you remember, that is when he scrambled and Texas brought him down. That was Anthony Hill. Carson Beck, not a good night for him. Luckily, they did win the game, so it's not talked about. 23 of 41, 4.3 yards per attempt for Carson Beck, 3 interceptions. Now, there were drops in this game. I've heard anywhere from 7 all the way down to 4. So, okay, somewhere between 4 and 6 drops because everyone I know that I saw said the Lawson Lucky drop was a drop. It is not a drop. If a wide receiver has to go like this, all the way extended, and it hits off your fingertips, that's not a drop. That is a bad pass. So if you're counting that as a drop, you don't know what you're talking about. And that's the interception that was in the red zone by Jahdae Barron. So let's say he had 6 drops. You average that out 15 yards per catch. That's 90 yards. Plus, I think he had 173 or something of that sort. So he would have been in the 260s. Guys, he still would have been at like 6.5 yards per attempt. That's really bad. And Texas has a lot of credit for that. Like, Texas played phenomenal on defense, and we'll get into that when we get into what went wrong, what went right, and all that. Trevor Etienne, 19 for 87, 4.6 yards per carry. I was surprised when I saw that. I was surprised after the game when I saw that, because it seemed like he got way more yards than that. And that's kind of how this Texas defense has been in the running when teams run the ball. I always think they're giving up more yards than they actually are, because whenever I check the box score, I'm like, wow, they were way better versus the run than I thought. And they have been. They've been good versus the run. That hasn't been an issue. As a whole, Georgia, 28 for 110, which is a 3.9 average. That's really good run defense from Texas. Reception-wise, Oscar Delp led them with 2 receptions for 45 yards. They really don't have much of a receiving threat at Georgia. Defense, phenomenal. Jalen Walker, 8 tackles, 3 sacks. Michael Williams, 3 tackles, 2 sacks. As a team, 7 sacks and 10 tackles for loss for Georgia. They were able to play on their tippy toes all night and just attack downhill. Can never get them on their heels. There was really only one drive all game where I thought Texas got them on their heels, and we scored a touchdown on that drive, and it was the opening drive of the third quarter. I think that was the best drive of the night. If you could have replicated that about 4 times, you would have won the football game. Unfortunately, you could not. Nowhere near it, honestly. Even when we scored the second touchdown because of the Jahdae Barron interception, that was a little bit ugly. But overall, just an abysmal game and an abysmal start to that game for the Texas offense. And we'll get into what went wrong right after I get into your comments real quick. Yes, Jackson's dropping the link right there. Please use that. We will get into what went wrong. So, Quinn Ewers. I wrote down 4 things, and I think most people have talked about it at this point, but I want to talk about it. I want to dive into where I think it's coming from, where it could be coming from, and all of that. Not stepping up in the pocket, number 1, is not doing it for whatever reason. I have to put some blame on Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler. I think they do a phenomenal job. But everything they were saying in that game of Kelvin Banks is getting beat bad, Cameron Williams is getting beat bad. Cameron Williams did get beat bad. I'm not even going to say that. He did get beat bad. Kelvin Banks did not. And most of the time, these sacks were because Quinn Ewers did not step up in the pocket, or he ran, jogged, walked, whatever you want to call it, out of a good pocket. And I do not understand where this is coming from. This is old Quinn Ewers stuff, guys. This is not even last year. It is last year. It's the beginning of last year and 2 years ago, his first year at Texas type of stuff. He would run out of bad pockets. His footwork was terrible. He would not step up correctly when he had the opportunity. And you saw that multiple times. I think the best example of this, and I said that during the game. I saw it during the game. I don't really post clips on Twitter because I don't like to do that. I don't like getting clickbait or stuff like that. I'm just not like that. But when that end zone sack where he was near the end zone, Kelvin Banks, that's a win. Do you know, guys, when you see those one-on-one clips of edge defenders versus offensive linemen, and you can tell the offensive lineman wins because he pushes the guy so far outside and then either buries him or the guy gives up. That's what happened during that rep. Kelvin Banks ran, I believe it was Jalen Walker, up the field so far and then buried him. He was on the ground and went like this and swiped Quinn Ewers' ankles and got the sack. If Quinn Ewers steps up and moves left, he's got nobody near him. Nobody near him. And he just did not do that, guys. And I don't know why. It's a total regress from the beginning of the season when you saw it versus Michigan. And this is the issue I have when I say that. When I say he did it versus Michigan, people are like, oh, Michigan's not any good. I would agree with you. As a whole football team, they are not any good. But front four to front four, it's equal, guys. You have Kenneth Grant, you have Mason Graham, you have you have Stewart on the outside, you have Derek Moore on the outside versus what you have from Georgia. That is an equal matchup. And Michigan didn't get the sacks. Do you know why they didn't get any sacks on Quinn Ewers? I think they may have had one, but it was when he escaped and kind of went down. Because he stepped up in the pocket, extended plays with his feet, kept his eyes downfield, and found an open man. The perfect example of that is the Gunnar Helm touchdown that everyone remembers. He drops back to pass, feels a little bit of pressure, moves slightly to the right, and then up in the pocket, running, keeps his eyes downfield, and delivers a beautiful ball in the back of the end zone. He did none of that in this game. None of it. He did not do that one time. Not one time did Quinn Ewers step up in the pocket and deliver a football downfield. I don't know what that is. Like I said, we'll get to that. We'll get to these other things. I already kind of touched on this. Running out of clean pockets. There is another rep in this game where Quinn Ewers has nobody near him. Nobody. Kelvin Banks is in a stalemate with Michael Williams on the left side, and everyone else is winning their rep up front. Quinn Ewers is back there, and his internal clock goes off, which, again, you're supposed to have an internal clock, but he's rushing his. And as soon as he feels that, he just runs to the left, and Michael Williams then disengages from Kelvin Banks and runs down Quinn Ewers. And I believe Quinn Ewers gets rid of that. But either way, if he had gone right, first off, he should. You're a right-handed quarterback. It's easier to throw right-handed than running left and throwing this way. It's way easier. Go out in the backyard and try for yourself. And so you're running the wrong way. Two, it's unneeded. There is no need to do that. None whatsoever. And then not trusting your eyes. So there's this guy. I'm going to give him credit because he did a really good job. He has the All-22 film. His name is Pax Burner on Twitter. He has about 15 clips here, guys. Still pictures, I should say, where if you look at, you can find it yourself, Pax Burner, again on Twitter. Phenomenal job by him. I wish I had the All-22 because I could do the same, but really good job of where there are plays open downfield for Quinn Ewers. And he's looking at them, and he is not releasing the football. And I just do not understand why. Here it is. So I'll read you this one because this one's the one I'm thinking of. It's cover 3 by Georgia. There is a winner here. The post by Wingo is going to draw Dan Jackson. So Ryan Wingo is running a post. Dan Jackson is the safety in the middle of the field. He has a choice. There's Isaiah Bond going in a dig route underneath of that. Dan Jackson, if he comes underneath, then Ryan Wingo is going to be open over the top for a post. If Dan Jackson goes over the top with Ryan Wingo, which he did, Isaiah Bond is going to be wide open coming underneath in the middle of the field. Isaiah Bond's wide open. Dan Jackson decided to go with Ryan Wingo. It's open, guys. It is wide open. We're talking if he delivers this football in front of him, there's a chance if he runs upfield and the safety and corner who's on Ryan Wingo don't react, it's a touchdown. And even then, if it's not a touchdown, it's a 20 to 30-yard gain. Instead, for whatever reason, Quinn Ewers is looking at it. I'm looking at it right here. Wide open. Doesn't throw it to him. And I just do not understand that. This is total regression by Quinn Ewers, and it doesn't make sense. Now, there was this one I also wanted to talk about, and this is on Gunnar Helm, and Joel Klatt actually broke this down. Again, I don't have access to the All-22 film, so I was not able to tell here. On the interception, Matthew Golden is running a stick route. In zone coverage, you are going to run this route up and then to the outside. In man, you're going to feel where your man is and then turn whatever way he's not, basically. This was zone. It was a cover 2 look. He runs the stick route up, back like you're supposed to. Gunnar Helm is on the outside of him. In this situation, Gunnar Helm is supposed to take outside leverage, so the cover 2 guy underneath, instead of turning inside to look at the stick route, has to turn outside first, run with him a bit, and then he'll turn back inside, which makes the stick open. Gunnar Helm takes it inside instead of outside, which allows the guy in cover 2. He never has to turn. Gunnar Helm's running right in front of him, and the other route's right there. So he's literally just looking, and as soon as he realizes what it is, breaks in and intercepts the pass. That interception is not on Quinn Ewers. That interception is on Gunnar Helm not realizing what he's supposed to do. And it's a little thing, guys. It's literally the difference of taking one step inside instead of one step outside. He should have taken the outside step to take that up down the sideline, and he did not do that. So that is on Gunnar Helm. It is not on Quinn Ewers. Next up, not stepping into throws. There were multiple throws to be had. He had Ryan Wingo. This is the example. They got a pass interference. It's actually not a terrible ball. It might be his best ball thrown all night. It's slightly underthrown, but Ryan Wingo is able to come back and try to make a play. The Georgia defender runs into him. It's pass interference. But if he lays that out there in one-on-one coverage deep, he has the arm strength if he steps into the throw to lead Ryan Wingo and hit him deep down the sideline. He's unable to do that. It's pass interference. It works out, but it's not a good ball. The other one, Matthew Golden, I actually think he meant to do that because the safety was coming over. That's an interception if he does step into it, so I have no issue with that. But there are multiple other throws that are tight windows where if you step into them, you can deliver. So he's literally, that's the thing about this Quinn Ewers thing. It wasn't one bad thing. It wasn't 2 bad things. It wasn't 3. That is 4 things on tape where he's doing them all wrong. And it's something he did not do at the beginning of the year. And I said this, guys, if Quinn Ewers takes the next step and cleans up all these things, and honestly, if he was better at 3 out of 4, if he hit 3 out of 4, Texas can win the national championship. Let's put it this way. If he stepped up in the pocket versus Georgia, if he didn't run out of clean pockets and he trusted his eyes 3 out of the 4, he can even not step into throws. Texas wins that football game. And people are going to, yo, you're crazy. Guys, there were so many throws there. So many throws. It's really frustrating to watch, and that's why I said go look at Pax Burner. There's so many throws there. And is a quarterback going to miss 1 or 2 throws a game, or more than that, 4 to 5 opportunities where a guy is wide open? Yes. But again, this is a 21 still picture thread on Twitter, and like 15 of them are wide open guys. You cannot miss. That's 15 opportunities you just threw away for whatever reason. And now we'll get into what I believe it is. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things, guys. Think about this. His backup is Arch Manning. All he hears all offseason, Arch Manning, Arch Manning. Arch Manning's going to take his job. He gets hurt, which he's used to getting hurt. And then Arch Manning comes in and plays well. And he probably hears the whispers of Arch Manning should be the starter. Arch Manning should be the starter. And then guess what? I think he rushed himself back slightly. I don't think he's super hurt, but I do think there's something there where he's slightly hurt. And I don't think he wants to get hurt again, because I think if he gets hurt again, guys, I think his football mortality is staring him straight in the face at Texas. That's what I think is happening. I think he's looking and realizing if I get hurt again, I'm never going to get my job back. And I don't know why that is, because you've heard Steve Sarkisian come out and say, this is my quarterback, this is my guy. And I respect the hell out of Steve Sarkisian for saying that, because he should say that. Because if he didn't say that, Quinn Ewers would probably be ruined here at the rest of the time at Texas. He really would be. I think it's a combination of, like I said, slightly being hurt, knowing who your backup is, and then not wanting to get hurt again. Because let's be honest here, guys. If you step into certain throws and something goes wrong and someone lands on your leg, you're probably out for the season. You probably tore something in your knee. But and then also I think it's a lack of confidence issue. Quinn Ewers is not a confident human being. I never met the guy, but you can tell when someone's confident by the body language they provide. When you go out in public, you can tell who's confident and who's not. And Quinn Ewers has been working on that. And that's where I thought the more confident Quinn has gotten, the better he's played on the field. And I thought he was working and getting better than that. And I think it's all started to crash down again. And can it be fixed? Yes. I don't know how quickly it can be fixed. I just don't. And I think that this is why this Vanderbilt game is a very important game to me for multiple different things, but especially that one. Because if he cannot fix his confidence and we have to go to Arch Manning, that puts a cap on this team. This team will not win a national championship with Arch Manning at quarterback. Guys, Arch Manning refuses to check the football down. Refuses. When he came in the game, he had Matthew Golden wide open. Wider than any of the throws Quinn honestly turned down. Way wider than that. And he chose to go to Ryan Wingo. When they were running the same route, it's a levels concept. He just decided to go to Ryan Wingo instead of Matthew Golden. And that is frustrating to me. He just refuses to take the check down. We're not winning a national championship. And people saying Arch Manning's better for that game. Yes, Arch Manning would have gotten more rushing yards. Arch Manning would have run out of more sacks. I'm telling you right now, he would turn the ball over a lot more than Quinn Ewers did. A lot more. People can laugh at that. That's what would have happened. I'm letting you know that right now. We can only win a national championship if Quinn Ewers gets his early season type groove back. If that does not happen, this team's not winning a national championship. I still think they make the playoff. And depending on seeding, they might win the first game, but after that, they're gone. That's where we're at right now, guys. So we just talked about Quinn Ewers. We're still getting to the running game, and we'll talk about turnovers and stuff like that. But let's jump into your comments real quick. Victor Santiago, it might be the injury, but Quinn's main problem might be mental. The mental part of the game is the toughest. He has to overcome it himself. No one can know. 100%. There's nothing anyone can tell him, show him, or do with him to get that fixed. But I'm telling you, that's what's so frustrating is I saw it this year, and that's what's so damn frustrating. I saw it versus Michigan. I saw it early on. And again, the competition with this sort of stuff doesn't really matter, because if he's willing to move up in the pocket versus those teams, he should be able to do that versus other teams. Rob, I didn't say he misses passes. I'm saying he's missing wide open receivers with his eyes. Matthew Golden's running wide open. He decides to go in Ryan Wingo instead. If you saw the other games, he loves to push the ball down the field. He does not take the checkdowns. You cannot always push the ball down the field. The funny thing is, if you combine Arch Manning and Quinn Ewers right now, you'd have the perfect quarterback. Arch has better body language, mental side of the game, and better footwork. But I would love to have some check down Charlie more in Arch Manning, because he just refuses to do that. The body language thing is overplayed, not as important as people think. You're just wrong. Just completely wrong on that. I just disagree with that. Watch the guy on the sideline when he got benched, guys. He hangs his head. He had the little confidence he had was basically over. And I'm glad we put him back in the game, because if we don't put him back in the game, I don't think he ever gets any sort of confidence back here at Texas. I just don't. And now I will say this. This is the first time probably since he was 14 or 15 years old he's been challenged. He's been the golden boy since he's been a sophomore, junior in high school. And everyone's been kissing his ass and telling him how good he is and that they want him. This is the first time he was benched and had to look at himself probably in the mirror and be like, damn, man, this could really end for me and it could end ugly. So it's going to be interesting. I agree. I don't have time I don't disagree. I'm not disagreeing with that. But this is why it's so cool. We're playing a team this week where if we play that first half like we do versus Georgia, they're still probably not going to beat us. Listen, Vanderbilt's a nice football team. They're not that good. They're okay. They're not that good. That's what, guys, we're favored by 19 points for a reason. And people are going to say, oh my God, they beat Alabama. Guys, that was a one-off opportunity that happened. It happens once every 50 years it happens. So I'm really not that concerned about it, but I agree. That's why it's the perfect game. If he can get his confidence back in this game, you go into the bye week and then you come out of the bye week, I think we'll be fine. If we don't do that this week, we'll see. That's all I'm going to say. We will see. On that blitz by the cornerback, Quinn had Golden wide open. He was looking at him, yet he never threw the ball to him. Yeah, so that was Sark said that today about Victor. He said that wasn't on Quinn. That was a protection issue. And Quinn's actually pretty good at setting protection. So I kind of agree with that. That one probably was on the offensive line, because he seemed like, hey, they got me on the blind side. I'm good. So if Sark said it, I'm going to go with him. I knew I was going to get one of these. We might as well address it. Hunter, what a complete bottle throwing idiots. For those with eyes, we've seen this yours all along. What a complete. Okay. You're either not a Texas fan. I wasn't at the game. So dumb comment, but yeah. So I think that's more on the protection and not on Quinn, honestly, Victor. Now let's hit on this other issue real quick, guys, because it's just as serious in my eyes. It's not good at all. The running game. Jaden Blue had 0 carries in this game. Jaden Blue had 0 carries in this game. He had 7 touches. He had 7 catches. And shout out to Nash for putting this on Twitter. Everyone knows Nash Clips. Go check him out on Twitter. He did not post the full game, so I'm angry about him with that. But running percentage, the last 3 games in the first 20 to 25 minutes, so the amount of snaps that we were just running the football. Mississippi State, 22.2% of the time. Oklahoma, 38%. Georgia, 34.7%. That is unacceptable. We are not running the football enough. We are not committing to the run enough. And people are going to say, yes, we're not running the ball well enough to commit to it. Completely agree we're not running the ball well enough. Guys, when we played Alabama last year, we averaged, I believe, 3.2 yards per carry. Guess how many times we ran the football? 37. You were averaging 3.2 yards per carry, and you ran it 37 times. You passed it 38 times. That is a perfect balance. What does Quinn Ewers do best? He is great at anticipation and throwing when he knows where he's supposed to go. And he is great with his back turned to the defense and then play action. Why would we not run the football so we can establish that and help him out? So that part is on Sark. He's got to figure something out to be able to run the ball. And when we committed to the run, guess what else? That other drive coming out of halftime that I talked about was our best drive of the game. 4 of the 8 plays were running plays. So that is the formula to success with this team. You have to run the football. In my opinion, we should be about 55 pass, 45 run. Do I agree? I'd love to have another running back that's actually a bell cow running back. Love to have it. Does not exist with this team. Trey Wisner, not going to happen. Jaden Blue, not going to happen. And what did I say about Trey Wisner? I love Trey Wisner. I love the way he runs. I love the person he is. He does not have the body to sustain big hits constantly. He is now hurt. I do not know if he's going to play in this game. It was a shoulder injury. Sark didn't say much about that. But that is the issue. Neither of these guys are full-time backs. Jarrett Gibson's going to have to get something figured out in the bye week. I don't think you're going to see him much this week, but during the bye week, we're going to have to ride him a little bit more going down the stretch of the season because we do not have a bell cow, and it's really hurting us. Sark, you're going to have to scheme things up. You're going to have to get this offensive line to get push in the running game better because guess what? In my opinion, this is the best offensive line in college football. Did they have a slightly bad night versus Georgia? Yes. It was over-exaggerated, especially with the guys in the booth of how bad it was. Cameron Williams did. Cameron Williams had his worst night by far as a Texas Longhorn. It was not close. I'm also not surprised by it. It's the biggest competition he's ever gone against in his first season. Not surprised. Kelvin Banks had a good night. Jake Majors had a good night. Hayden Conner had a good night. DJ Campbell also had a bad night. The right side was bad. I was right about that. Right after the game, I said it, and I'm saying it now after watching it again. Not good. So we have to figure out how to run the football. I don't know what the answer is. I'm hoping Sark can find out the answer. I know the answer isn't not giving the ball to Jaden Blue. Yes, does he have fumble issues? Of course he does. He fumbles about every 40 times he touches, or once every 40 times he touches the ball. But we still need to give Jaden Blue 7 to 10 carries a game, and then give Trey Wisner 7 to 10 carries a game. So there, you're at, let's say you're at 20 there. Can we get Jarrett Gibson 5 to 7? And then Ryan Niblett 3 or 4. Ryan Niblett had the one run, did well, and then we never gave him the ball again. So it's like, just figure it out, man. You have to figure something out in this running game. Otherwise, if we're just going to rely on Quinn right now, just completely dropping back as many times as we did, 43 times in total with Arch Manning, 50 dropbacks, we're not winning it. We're not winning football games versus elite competition doing that, period. Can we beat Vandy this week doing that? Yeah. Can we beat Kentucky? Probably. Can we beat anyone else left on the schedule? Probably not. Florida's starting to play better. Arkansas is good. A&M is good. They're not as good as they're getting overblown to be, but they're good. But we got to figure out a running game. We really do. I was yelling to run the ball in the first half. We came out running the ball in the second half, and we started to move the ball. Exactly. So we have to run the ball. We have to establish that. And also it helps settle it down Quinn. And then you can do play action, which he's best at, and allow him to get him in rhythm with short play action passes. He is a rhythm thrower. Get him in rhythm. And a running game would really, really, really help out, guys. Quinn is a head case. It doesn't matter. This guy's just completely given up on Quinn. So, I mean, if you have that opinion, that's fine. I haven't given up quite yet. If he does this in Vanderbilt, I will be here post-game and I will be off the train. I'll be off the train, but I'm not there yet. I'm really not. Do you know why I'm not there yet? Because, again, I saw it earlier in the season. If I had not seen what I saw early in their season and I saw what I saw last year some of the time, and it just continued to this year all the way through, I'd be completely off. But I didn't, and that's why I still have a little bit of hope for Quinn Ewers. Not a lot, but I got a little bit. Next up, can we stop turning the damn ball over? For the love of God, Georgia's longest drive, other than the 89-yard touchdown, was 34 yards. 34 yards. This defense played really well. They're not going to get the credit they deserve. They were phenomenal. They forced turnovers. They got pressure, but didn't get home. Sometimes that's the only bugaboo I have with them. But they were really good, guys. They were fundamentally sound. They missed very few tackles. The tackles they did miss, you had guys flying to the football to clean up for their teammates. Jade Barron might win the Thorpe Award. He's been that freaking good. Manny Muhammad had a phenomenal game. Andrew Makuba had a great game, and I hope he's healthy because he is big. I think it's a knee sprain. Keep him out this week. We don't need him. Put in Jelani McDonald, Michael Taft. We can ride with that for this week because that would give him 3 weeks to get healthy. That's plenty of time. You'd be fine. So do not play him. I beg of you, do not play him because I don't want him getting hurt in this Vandy game. He played phenomenal. I'm trying to think of any player that I was just like, damn, he didn't play. Baron Sorrell. He gets a lot of shit from people that don't know what they're talking about. That guy is phenomenal versus the run. And then the pass rush, my dude, he was all over the damn place. He was flying around. It was fun to watch him play football. He had a game like that versus TCU too when TCU made the playoff. That was probably his best game. This was probably his second best game in the Texas Longhorn uniform. He was really good. Alfred Collins, phenomenal game as well. Like, there were so many guys on the defensive side of the ball that balled the fuck out. They were just great, man. I was thoroughly impressed. I was happy. There's really nothing I could say. Maybe get to the quarterback a little bit more. Like I said, that'd be nice. But you're getting pressure and affecting the quarterback, making him move around, which is always good, especially someone like Carson Beck. And the cool thing about this, guys, This year in college football, there's only 2 quarterbacks in my mind that are elite that could really kill us as a defense. One of them will never play. Shedeur Sanders ain't going to play him. I don't think. I'm actually hoping. Don't make the playoff because I don't want to play him. And then Cam Ward. But their defense is so damn bad. If we got 4 stops versus Cam Ward, we win the football game. But everyone else, there's no other elite quarterback. And people are going to say Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel is not elite. Get out of here with that shit. Those are the 2 elite quarterbacks. And again, I'm coming at this from a NFL perspective, what the NFL looks for. It's going to be Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. Everyone else, I don't know who QB3 is. If you need a quarterback this year, you better go get Shedeur or Cam. I have no clue who else there is. But everyone else balled out. Broughton didn't show up there. No, he didn't. And Broughton is a good player, but guys, he's not good enough for that level of competition. He's not. That's why we've seen him not really play all these years, and now he has to play because our interior is still not great. It's good, but it's not great. Jermaine Mollet played very well as well. Not impressed with Trey Moore. Yeah. So his pass rush ability, he's just too small at this level. Sorry, he is. He's great versus the run, though. Great versus the run, and he's a really good Swiss Army knife to use at the linebacker and edge position. So he's a good player still. He's just not the pass rusher we were promised, which sucks. But guess what Colin Simmons is? And again, this was too much competition early on for Colin Simmons. He'll be fine down the road playing these teams, but right now he's just too young. So sober October over. I respect that. I don't drink, but I completely understand that. That's why you pony up the NIL. Yes. Bingo. That is exactly why you pony up the NIL for Justice Terry. The problem is he comes from the state of the team we just played, and I told you guys it was a concern that he went to this game. I would have rather he gone to any other game because you basically gave him a free show to the team in state that kicked our ass. But if you pay enough money, that'll be good. Simmons had a quiet night. Yeah, he did. And it's because, again, the step up in competition. Guys, if you look at the guy's frame, he's just not ready for that kind of football. He's pretty skinny. He is. He needs to put on about 10 to 15 pounds of muscle. Next year, he will be ready. I'm telling you this right now, when he plays Ohio State next year in that first game, I think he's going to have a pretty good game. Right now, he's just not ready for that competition. It sucks to say, but he's just not. Let's see. Let's talk about Vanderbilt now. We'll jump into that. So the Vanderbilt preview, guys, this is a big game. We'll get to the keys of the game, but let's jump into Vanderbilt. Let's talk about them for a little bit. So Vanderbilt is 46th in the country offensively in points per game with 29.5. Yards per play, 5.6, which is 59th. Third down percentage is phenomenal, and that's big key to this game for them. 51.16% of third downs converted. That is 5th in the country. Fourth down conversion rate is 16th in the country. It's 75%. And red zone scoring is 95.83%. That is 12th in the country. Yards per rush is 3.7. That is 92nd in the country. Yards per pass is 9.2, which is 10th in the country, and QB sack percentage is 5.96, which is 62nd in the country. On defense, they give up 25.8 points per game. That is 69th in the country. Yards per play is 5.9. That is 87th in the country. Yards per rush is 4.3. That is 73rd in the country. Yards per pass is 7.7, 87th in the country, and sack percentage is 6.37, which is 59th in the country for Vanderbilt. Now, let's get to Texas. 39.1 points per game, that is 11th. 6.4 yards per play, that is 20th. Third down percentage took a hit because we were terrible versus Georgia. I think we only got one. I think we're like 1 of 15, which is abysmal. 43.18%, 35th in the country. Red zone scoring, 82.76%. That is 79th in the country. 4.7 yards per rush, 49th in the country. 8.6 yards per pass, 17th in the country. And sack percentage went up. It was around 3%. It is 5.12%. 53rd in the country. Now, defensively, these numbers are going to be beautiful. 9.7 points per game, first in the country. 3.6 yards per play, first in the country. Red zone scoring, we are number 1 in the country. 3.1 yards per rush, 11th in the country. 4.5 yards per pass, first in the country. Guys, by the way, anything under 6.5 yards per pass is elite. We are 2 yards under that. And Carson Beck did 4.3. So we did worse than the average we give up, which lowered the average. 8.04%, 23rd in the country. Pressure rate's probably higher than that, honestly. So, obviously, in this game for me, Diego Pavia, gamer, gritty, as Sark said. baller, whatever you want to call the guy. That's what he is. Hard-nosed guy, used to wrestle, got in a fight with Auburn when New Mexico State beat him last year. He's been phenomenal according to Pro Football Focus, 16th best quarterback in the country, 66.2% completion percentage, 11 touchdowns to 1 interception, 9 yards per attempt, 4 yards per run with 3 touchdowns there as well. They really don't run the ball that well on a yards per play basis. Cedric Alexander, the running back, is averaging 4 yards per carry. He has 5 touchdowns on the year. He's a decent player. Nate Johnson, remember him at Utah, came in for a couple plays this year so far. He's averaging 18.5 yards per carry, but it's only 4 carries. So it's be interesting if they use him at all in this game as well. Eli Stowers, got to apologize. When I was previewing Vanderbilt and I was previewing the SEC as a whole, I clowned this guy. I said converted tight end. He did have a nice year, or converted quarterback to tight end, had a nice year at New Mexico State, but you're going to the SEC, you won't do that well. Phenomenal. He's going to be an NFL player. 33 receptions, 463 yards, gigantic human being. I think he's 6'6", 14 yards per catch. This is a legit NFL tight end. Honestly, he's probably a top 5 tight end in the country. He's that damn good. Junior Sherrill at wide receiver and Quincy Skinner are their 2 best. They each have, or Junior Sherrill has 2 touchdowns. Quincy Skinner has 1. On the defensive side of the ball, Langston Patterson is questionable. He is their best linebacker. Again, he's questionable. He has missed some time. They've also missed Miles Capers, who's probably their 2nd best pass rusher. He's missed some time as well. He could be back in this game. So those are 2 names to look out for. If they are back in this game, they will make a slight difference. Brian Longwell has stepped in and played nicely and been their best linebacker with those 2 guys out. 45 tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, first on the team, and 1.5 sacks. That is tied for 2nd on the team. Nicholas Rinaldi, is number 1 on the team in sacks. At defensive end, he's a good player, 3.5 sacks. Also, look out for CJ Taylor. He's a little bit of a do-it-all player. You know who he kind of reminds me of, if anyone remembers this guy? Sua Cravens from USC, who played in the NFL with my Broncos for a little bit. He plays a little bit of tight end, a little bit of safety, a little bit of nickel. He's a really good player, really physical player as well, so watch out for CJ Taylor. To me, guys, this is very simple for Vanderbilt versus Texas. Time of possession. Time of possession. That's what it's going to come down to. I believe Vanderbilt, this is crazy, had 42 minutes of time of possession versus Alabama. 42 minutes, and they barely won that football game. You would say, looking at that number, you'd be like, damn, this team dominated. They won by 5. So they have to win time of possession. To me, it's going to be a lot like Oklahoma. They have to be about 35 minutes plus in time of possession. And the only reason Oklahoma got close to that, by the way, is because they had a garbage time drive at the end of the game that took 5 minutes. They were at 34 minutes. They were really, if you watch the flow of the game, about a 29 to 30 minute time of possession team. Vanderbilt's going to have to be 35 minutes plus to beat Texas. Honestly, to even compete. If they beat Texas, they'll probably have to be closer to 40. 3rd down. We just talked about that. They are the number 5 team in all of college football on converting 3rd down. Texas defensively is phenomenal versus the 3rd down guys. We are number 10 in the country on 3rd down conversion rate at 28%. So just do what you do always, honestly. Stop 3rd downs. They don't really run the football well, but they are committed to running football. Texas could take a playbook out of Vanderbilt's, be committed to running the football, and this team is. They're going to do it in multiple different ways. Read option, triple option, speed option. And then what they do out of that, they do a lot of reverses, end around, stuff like that, and they will also hit you deep. That is why Diego Pavia's number is at 9 yards per attempt, because when they do that and they commit to the run, they will hit you deep, especially with Eli Stowers getting either out of the backfield or off the line of scrimmage untouched sometimes, because everyone thinks it's a run, hitting play action to him deep. So you have to be weary of that if you're Texas. It's going to be a very interesting game. To me, jump out early. Make it easy on yourself for multiple reasons. If you jump out early, they're going to have to abandon that philosophy, and it will snowball, and you'll be able to roll this team. It will not be something that will be close at the end of the day if you're able to jump out early. Number 2, if you jump out early, it would give Quinn Ewers in this offense a mental reset and a mental boost of confidence, in my opinion, which is desperately needed on the offensive side of the ball. The only way Texas loses this game, guys, is if they do exactly what they did versus Georgia, turning it over multiple times in their own territory where Vanderbilt gets easy scores. Even then, it's going to be hard for Vanderbilt to win because they'd have to convert all those into touchdowns. and I just don't see that happening. So get off to a fast start, avoid turnovers in your own area, and for the love of God, keep Vanderbilt get them off the field on third down. Do not allow them to convert third downs because they will just death by 1,000 paper cuts. That's exactly what this game will turn into if you allow them to get turnovers and also allow them to convert third downs and fourth downs because they'll probably go for it a couple times. They've been doing that a lot this year. And you can also, getting out to a fast start and limiting Diego Pavia from getting off to a fast start would get his confidence down, guys. This is the opposite of Quinn Ewers. Diego Pavia plays with this confidence at all time, this amount of confidence. If you can hit him in the mouth and punch him a little bit and his confidence gets a little bit down here, and then the opposite for Quinn Ewers, if you can get the ball rolling, play well on offense, and the confidence starts to go up, we should win this game rather easily. Like I said, the only way I see us not winning this game is if it's a complete shit show offensively, basically the Georgia game, and then them scoring touchdowns on top of that. I just don't think our defense would allow that. I don't see that happening. Now, this is a very hard offense to plan for. It's going to be interesting how Pete Kwiatkowski adjusted this because this is really the only triple option type offense left in college football for the most part. The freaking military academies don't even do it anymore. And guess what? They probably shouldn't be doing it because it's working for them. They're both, or two of them are ranked. And there's a good chance one of them probably makes the college football playoff. So very interesting game. We'll jump into your comments and questions before I get to my prediction here. Take it from a longtime SEC guy in common sense. Texas hasn't seen and doesn't practice against the triple option regularly. Fair. Vandy can win this. They're not winning this game. Can win this game if Texas linebackers don't play sound. Even if they don't play super sound, they're not. They just, guys, our defense is so much better than Alabama, and Vanderbilt had the ball for 42. Again, I don't think people realize this, 42 minutes to 18 minutes and only won the game by 5 points. I just don't see them replicating that. And I've talked about this. The way Vanderbilt plays, guys, it's very easy to get blown out. If you're not not converting third downs, and if you also have a turnover or two, you're going to get blown out. That's what's going to happen. So if Texas can turn them over and not turn the ball over themselves, they can blow this team out. I really believe that. But it will definitely be harder than old Vanderbilt teams. This is still a good, solid football team. They're like a 6-6, 7-5 team. That's what they are. They're not anything more than that. If you think they're anything more than that, you're crazy. It will be like the 2022 Texas Tech game. I mean, not really, because that's a completely different scheme. But if you're talking about are you talking about the end result or how the end result happened? But scheme-wise, they're not. They're actually complete opposite scheme-wise. I agree. I agree with. Pavia is a chainsaw that is not going to stop for 4 quarters. I don't disagree with that. I just don't think they have enough weapons to challenge us in the secondary when they have to. I really find it hard to believe Texas is going to get the ball run down their throat because that's what it's going to take, and I just don't see that happening. Quinn looks cool, but I wonder if he knows what is going on sometimes. I mean, that's a possibility. Texas needs to and can jump out to a big lead. Completely agree with that. Beating Vandy now is getting ahead and staying ahead. Completely agree. You do not want to get in a fourth quarter game with this team. You do not. You want to avoid that at all costs, especially with the way our mental is at the quarterback position right now. Like Quinn Ewers' mental stability in a fourth quarter game versus this team versus Diego Pavia's mental stability in a fourth quarter game. You can't get in a fourth quarter game. Or it could be the 2022 Kansas game. For the love of God, don't remind me of that game. It won't be that high scoring. Could it be? If Vanderbilt wins, it's going to look 23-20, 24-20, 21-17. It's going to look something like that. Like, you're going to have limited opportunities. Texas is going to have, if Vanderbilt plays the way they want to play, we'll have 50 to 60 plays. Now, if we can push that into the 70s, we'll win this game. The second most likely options of outcomes are 20% Vandy, 35 Texas, 34, or 80% Tech. Yeah, I'm not going to say we'd blow them up by that much, but it's a possibility for sure. I just don't see us pushing the ball down the field enough to create enough explosive plays to blow them out that much. And let's get into it, guys. Drop your predictions in the comments below. I'm going to have mine come up on the screen right now. I have Texas winning this game 33-14. So honestly, Texas is favored by 19. I wouldn't touch the line. And I would not take the over. I'd take the under here. I'd definitely take the under. I feel confident about that. I have no clue about the spread. When it was at 16, guys, I would have taken Texas because I feel confident in a 17-point victory. But anything more than like 20 to me is the max I could see us winning this game by. I don't see us winning by more than I take it back. I don't see us winning by anything more than 21 points. I just don't see that. I don't see anything more than 21 points here. I don't think it's possible at the pace this game's going to be played at. I don't think Vanderbilt shoots themselves in the foot very often, at least turnovers-wise, penalties-wise. They do commit a decent amount of penalties. So we'll have to see here, but that is my prediction for this game. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Again, hit that like button, subscribe down below. It really helps out. I'm here 7 p.m. Eastern time every Monday. Again, use that Amazon link in the description for the buying experience. It does not change the buying experience. All it does is put a little bit of change in Mark Rogers' pocket. It really helps out. And also catch us on the audio platform of your choice, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, whatever it is. You can listen to us instead of watch. Just type in the Voice of College Football and type in whatever your favorite team is. We're probably on there. I'll let you jump into your comments. Victor's going to go with Texas 31, Vanderbilt 13. Definitely a possibility. Texas. So we're all going to take, basically, I would take, by the way, if you held a gun to my head right now, I would take Vanderbilt plus 19. And it seems like everyone else would too. Texas 45, Vandy 27. Rob says if Quinn plays, we lose. If Arch plays, we win by 21. Well, I think Quinn's going to play, so you must think we're going to lose. I just don't see us losing this game. Rob, if you're here, or if you're right, come post game and talk about it. You were right if that happens, for sure. So again, guys, I really appreciate you guys being here. Again, 7 p.m. Eastern time every Monday. I'm your host, Matthew Miller. You can find me right there on X and Twitter. And before I go today, guys, I want to say something. I lost my Uncle Mike this morning. He had a battle with cancer. And obviously anyone that's been involved with someone having cancer or having cancer themselves, it really sucks, guys. So I don't know when the funeral is going to be planned. I think I'll be here post-game, but I'm going to be here post-game. I will make it work unless the funeral's at that time, but I will try to be here post-game. But this show is definitely dedicated to him. He was a Vietnam veteran, flew helicopters. He had a lot of cool stories. And rest in peace to my Uncle Mike, who passed away today on the 21st of October. He was 76 years old. And that's all I have to say tonight, guys. I really appreciate you guys being here. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. I will keep you guys updated if anything happens with that, if I cannot be here. Thank you guys for being here. And as always, hook 'em, guys.